I'm actually from your neighboring community of Eva Beach. I've lived there for 27 years. I am the mother of 4, grandmother of 3. My youngest child, who is now 9, has food allergies. She was diagnosed in 2006. She's sensitive to gluten, dairy, wheat. When she was diagnosed, we felt the safest route to take would be to keep her on an organic diet. I started reading labels just to make sure she wasn't getting the gluten. It's in practically everything, even toothpaste. I had to read all kinds of labels. I started to notice over the years that the food labels were changing. Not so much food and all these other ingredients you cannot pronounce. And I started seeing a lot more soy being pumped into the foods that you see at the store. We try to stick to organic. It's hard, it's expensive. But in 2010, to finish my bachelor's degree, I took a class called Politics of Food from UH West Oahu. That was last year, January. I have been catapulted into this whole other world of understanding just where our food's coming from and what's happening to our food, and just what genetically modification means. A GMO, or genetically modified organism, is the result of a laboratory process of taking genes from one species and inserting them into another. And it's an attempt to obtain a desired trait or characteristic. So they're also known as transgenic. It's genetic engineering, genetic modification, transgenic, they're all one and the same. It's not a natural process. I've heard biotech companies give this speech before. It has not been occurring for thousands of years. Okay, it happens in a laboratory. You cross one flower with another to get a desired color. That's not what's happening. Okay, they're tampering with the food or going into the genetic makeup or the DNA of the seed and changing it. The biggest crops that are being genetically modified are soy, corn, cotton, and canola. The minor crops are the Hawaiian papaya, the rainbow papaya, which I think Dr. Melissa Yu will shed some light on when she comes, zucchini, crookneck squash, sugar beets, and there are others on their way. I don't know if you've heard, but they're trying to genetically modify salmon now to grow bigger and faster, and they're also looking at genetically modifying pigs. Okay, where can GMOs be found? Cereal, bread, ice cream, canned foods, frozen foods, any processed foods, even health and beauty products, toothpaste, shampoo, the soap that you use. Okay. Before they were put onto the market, the FDA declared the agency is not aware of any information showing that foods derived by these new methods differ from any other foods in any meaningful or uniform way. And that was in 1992. But then I brought up this question at our neighborhood board: how long was tobacco on the market and cigarettes before they made that link to cancer? And secondhand smoke for children, the risk that's involved there. How many times has the FDA allowed pharmaceuticals on the market only to be recalled because of side effects? This has not been on the market long enough for them to deem it completely safe. So before it was put on the market, there were attempts to make safety studies to show that it was safe, okay? So what happened was, in the United Kingdom, they had a $3 million grant that they put out there for the scientists to do research, okay? And then it was awarded to this one man. His name's Dr. Arpad Pushtai. Okay, he worked for the Rowett Institute in Scotland, very prestigious institution. He's a biochemist and a nutritionist. Very well respected. And he did some tests with rats and potatoes, and come to find out, the rats had severe issues with their internal organs. The studies were published He was crucified in the media, he lost his job, and his reputation was ruined. Eventually, he was exonerated. But this has happened with other scientists. Peer-reviewed, well-respected, well-known, stepped forward to express their concerns about GMO and possible health effects, and their reputations have been ruined. Now in the United States, we have no labeling, and there are only bans in counties here and there, okay? But it is banned, or it is required to be labeled in over 30 countries around the world, okay? That rainbow papaya that's shipped to Japan, it has to have a sticker on it that says that it's been genetically modified. That is the law in Japan. And this is what some of the labels look like. The first one on the left-hand side is from the Netherlands, and you'll see where the red circle is. It says, contains genetically modified soybeans. And the one on the left is from the United Kingdom, and that's from Hershey's chocolate syrup. If GM crops are so bad, why don't we see any more problems? Okay? There's no post-marketing surveillance. In other words, nobody's following if there are any problems. There's no agency that takes a look at if there's health risks or allergies occurring. There's been no human clinical trials, no proper evaluation of plant changes or effects, and the approval is based on or disproved or untested or untested assumptions, and it's only based on industry studies. In other words, the scientists that work for these biotech companies, they do the testing, they take the results and they give it to the FDA and they say, here, this is what we found. So they're relying on their scientists to give them the results. FDA does not test these products. And the awareness is really no. I mean, think about, do you know if you're eating GMO foods? Only a few people know, 25%. Some people don't even know what GMO is. 60% people don't know if they've ever eaten GMOs, and 15% have no idea. This is in our children's school lunches. Recently, in the news, you may have heard the issue about the pink slime. Are you guys aware of that? Yep, okay. Most likely there's GMO in there. There's also the issue with the antibiotic-resistant viruses and bacteria that we're seeing because of the antibiotic use that's being done to the animals. They're shooting the animals with the antibiotic, and it's getting into the food that we eat. That includes the children. One of the things, there was a movement to try to make our school lunches healthier. And what ended up happening is USDA came back and said that pizza and French fries can still be considered as part of the vegetable component of the school lunches. So that's what we're up against. Promises made. Our president, when he was campaigning for presidency, and these are his exact words, "We will let folks know whether their food has been genetically modified because Americans should know what they're buying." But the opposite happened. Not only has labeling not happened, he put in charge of the FDA Michael Taylor, who is a former biotech company lobbyist. Okay. Also, he deregulated alfalfa. So now they can genetically modify alfalfa. The problem with that is cross-contamination. So these crops, these GMO crops, are planted next to or near organic crops, and then cross-contamination occurs. And then these biotech companies sue the organic farmers. These small family-run farms who are barely making it anyways are being sued because their fields were cross-contaminated, and the biotech companies patent their technology, so they own it. So they can sue if they find it in your field.